People, Deluded, I'm back again. Now, if you watched the game Man City versus Burnley yesterday, I'm sure there's a lot to speak about. Phil Foden said it's his best game in a City shirt. He was quality. There was other good performances and many talking points. Mahrez showing trickery as well. It is what it is, man. There's many talking points. Sadly, the bulk of that, or all of it, is irrelevant because you all saw the plane with the White Lives Matter. Now, it's quite sad that people are choosing to be what I call intentionally ignorant, intentionally bliss. Ignorance is bliss. Now, you know, you can bring it. This is where I say people being silly, because at this point in time, you know that when people say, whether you're black or white, when you say Black Lives Matter, nobody is saying white, brown lives do not matter. We are simply highlighting Black Lives Matter in what is happening with police brutality, many structural racism and prejudice, and all of these things. And this is one of the many tactics they'll do. Well, why do you got to say Black Lives Matter? All lives matter. Well, I'm not racist. Blah blah blah. This is why I don't discuss. I don't discuss these sort of things with people anymore, innit, people? Because people choose to be intentionally ignorant, and this is what people are doing. I don't want to say it's a small minority anymore. I'm not saying Burnley fans are racist or all of them are racist. This reflects bad, and in theory this is a small minority, but we keep saying it's a small minority, whether even away from this Burnley thing, it's a small minority. It's not a small minority. Racism is rife in the UK. Yes, I can go and get a job as a black man and nobody's going to call me a fucking N-word, this, that and the third, yeah? But that doesn't, to be fair, they have, but, and it didn't end nicely at all, but, that doesn't mean things have gone away. There's people that intentionally do this, and I big up Ben Mee for speaking out. Big up Sean Dice for coming out as well. Obviously, the club come out and condemned it as well, and it's unneeded. You know, Burnley, you've messed up your own players. You've got Dwight McNeil, who's mixed race. What is he gonna feel if you're saying that? If some of his fans are saying that, what's he gonna feel? He's gonna, he might not. Do you get it, people? And I think that's what some footballers need to understand, is that some of these men can be racist. Like I've watched documentaries where men have said, "Oh, not being funny, but I love Dion Dublin, doesn't mean I'll let someone like him marry my daughter." You see what I'm saying? This sort of dumb logic. So what has he got to be thinking about, people? It's sad. And for the players, they're focusing on a football match. Now they've got that. Now the club has to talk about that. Now the fans got to speak about that. Psychologically, that could have messed up some City players as well, which is silly. And to be fair, you know, and even you've even seen the guy who did it come out, and he's not, you know, he's sticking to his guns, rightly or wrongly, on his Facebook posts and things like that. It's sad. It's sad. And big up Ben Mee for coming out and speaking about it, and on behalf of him and the players, really and truly. It's sad that people are going to come out. And then what you have to look at nowadays, yeah, don't just look at the slogan, you know. Don't, because Black Lives, everyone's life matters. But we are highlighting, and we're going to continue saying Black Lives Matters. Stop trying to take away from it. It's not saying people don't understand, but away from the slogan or the actual plane, stop and think for a moment now. You have to question the integrity, because there's got to have been a pilot that flew over that. So I'm not saying the pilot's racist, but generally, if I was a pilot or you was a pilot and you was having, I get it, you got to pay your kids, but if you had to do something you didn't believe in, would you want to do that? It's not you putting it up there, but do you want to believe that? And the message it's sending and the tone deafness, do you want to be a part of that, really? So you're looking at the pilot now, thinking, yo, is he one of them racist boy there as well? The company. Because again, money's money, salary and conscience do not go hand in hand in many examples, but the company went out and allowed it. You know? Because they clearly organized, took the money, said, alright, cool, we'll fly over there, got the coordinates to say where they're flying, waited for the right time. You've got to look at this company now. You've got to look at the company and the pilot and things like that, because the message don't get out there if man don't go and do that dumb stuff. If the companies turn them down and say, no, we're not promoting this ignorance, because although there's nothing wrong with the slogan in isolation, what you're trying to portray, it doesn't benefit us. So you've got to look at them, people, because none of this is accidental. This cannot happen without people enabling it. And that's one of the most dangerous things. Don't assume racists are always these, you know, these men that are missing 2 teeth and, you know, fighting each other over £10 scratch cards and stuff. They're some of the smartest people on this earth, people. It's a madness. I'm not going to bore, well, you know, I'll big up Sean Dice, man, because he said, I didn't realise what had gone on at the beginning. Yeah, I think he did. Everybody saw that. But it was then when I got to the dressing room afterwards, the lads had mentioned it and went on their phones with what had gone on. I heard a buzzing noise around, didn't know what it was all about. The club has sent a statement out and I only support that statement. It is unacceptable. I don't think you can judge the club or the whole town on that, but it is unacceptable. As a club, we can only apologise. I don't know what we could have done about it. I've only learned about it, but it was unacceptable. There isn't much you could do about it. There isn't much you could do within that. I mean, if you find out the culprit, like everyone can go on the man's Facebook, I'm not going to do to do the whole thing of listing him. But if he is a hot ticket holder and whatnot, you ban him and his family. Like, you ban him and his family. Are they going to do that? I'm not too sure. And for the players, what have these idiots done? Now, fair enough, at that moment, City was smoking Burnley. But what has he just said? At half-time, players are on their phones. Players shouldn't be on their phone. They should be focused on the game. So you've already put your players at a disadvantage. Because now you're putting your players at risk. Because now people are looking like, I'm not saying this, what does Burnley represent? Like, what the players that play for Burnley? Are Burnley a racist town? Are they a racist club? Are they this and that? You've put them in that box now. You've put them in that. And for the players, that's not sad. That's sad, because the players they're human as well. They're walking around the street. Some of these players, you don't know what these players' cousins are. You don't know these players' beliefs. You don't know what these players' partners look like. You don't know their morals and standards. It wouldn't surprise me if certain players were considering the future of their club. I might be exaggerating a bit, but yeah, man. Obviously that's what they're gonna do. His name, do you know what? For whatever he is apparently a Burnley fan called Jake Heppel has claimed responsibility for flying an offensive banner during this. He said, "I'd like to take this time to apologise," and then obviously he said to absolutely and he said it's now apparent to say all white lives matters, and this is what I mean by intentionally obtuse. You know what you're doing. You're gaslighting. Nobody's saying white lives do not matter. Nobody's saying black lives matter more. You're taking away from the message. I've done enough videos where I've broken down why that statement is there. At this moment in time, you know, it's not my job. Listen, I don't care about educated racists and stuff like that. If they genuinely want to learn, and people that genuinely want to learn their unconscious and conscious biases and see where they're going wrong and how they could have done stuff better and learn from their mistakes and how they can communicate and want to actively unlearn their ignorance, that's completely different. You know, I got all the time in the world. I don't have time to be shouting at man like this. I'll give you the God's honest truth. Just smack racists up now. Like, it's that simple. You can do all the tweaking online. I even get in my comments. You can do all the wonky things in my comments. You can do all of that. If we see each other, you know what time it is. It's sad. It's sad as well because of what is rising. You know, far-right movements have been rising all over Europe. My country, England, no different. Obviously, a lot of you have seen what happened with the Black Lives Matters protests, which were disrupted. And the very people that were talking about, oh, you're burning down more memorials and stuff. You're mashing up the town, you're fighting police, you're peeing on your morals. This is why I said people are intentionally ignorant. This is why, for me personally, I'm not down with educating these sort of people. Like I said, they're completely different from people that genuinely want to learn and see stuff. It's not for me. Them man there, you know, lock them up, tie them up, and force them to listen to Alcala day in, day out, innit? Because they might learn something. And if not, just smack them up, man. Listen, I know I should, with the sort of platform I have, I shouldn't advocate violence and things like that. And I don't advocate violence, but, you know, there's no excuse for racism, man. If you're racist in 2020, I hope you get a slap in the face. I'll be brutally honest. Brutally honest. And I'll talk up a lot more things if it weren't for this camera and stuff. But it is what it is, man. And this country needs to look close to home because, listen, we were so swift to condemn Bulgaria for all the foolishness when England were playing. But now we're all hush-hush. It's in this country, people are more offended by being called a racist when they're saying racist shit than actually being racist. So for me, it's all wasted energy, man. But, you know, we're always going to be here frontlining and stuff until things change. Whether they change or not, it's a different story. For now, though, people, DG, I'm out.